Hi everyone, this was supposed to go up a while ago. Sorry for the long wait. But I tried to record it and it just didn't go out well. It didn't go as planned. I do not have a tripod or anyone to help me film, and that makes things very difficult. I was wearing a skirt yesterday and my hand couldn't stay still. I use my left hand to read Braille and the right hand to try to stay in the camera. And you can imagine what that might have shown if me and my right hand couldn't stay still. Don't ask me what's happening with all the accents, by the way. Just a little fun thing I do. Haha, we have fun here. Anyway, this is chapter 20, but I just wanted to let everybody know, this is the third take. So if I do sound a little flat, just give me a little bit of, leeway, okay? But also if I sound it's because it's morning time where I am. It's about 10-something. Anyway, this is chapter 20. While we sat at the breakfast table the next morning, I found myself looking over the boys, searching for signs that anyone else might be like Jack. I kept thinking if I'd paid more attention those first few days, I'd have been able to see there was something off about him. Then my eyes passed over the others I'd gotten to know, like Hale and Henry. Even Eric's presence was a welcome one. After meeting them, I couldn't let one boy make me fearful of all the others. And in truth, I really didn't have the privilege of being fearful. So I pulled myself together, remembering who I was. I couldn't run scared. As the meal drew to a close, I stood, commanding their attention. Gentlemen, I have a surprise for you. In 15 minutes, please come meet me in the studio for a little game. Some laughed, and others clapped, but they didn't know what was waiting for them. I almost felt bad. I left the room before them, going to make sure my dress and hair looked right for filming. Shortly thereafter, the boys filed in, all of them seeming a little stunned by the setup. I sat in front, a bit like a school teacher, while they each had a stool with a paper and marker and a large cartoonish name tag like the names I'd seen on TV game shows. Welcome, gentlemen, I sang. Please, come find your seat. The cameras were already rolling, capturing their nervous smiles and confused head shaking as they found their places and stuck on their tags. Today, we're having a pop quiz on all things Ilya. We'll be discussing history, foreign affairs, and domestic places. When you get an answer right, When you get an answer right, one of the maids standing by, I said, motioning to the ladies waiting in the wings, will come put a gold check mark sticker on you. Get one wrong, and they'll bring a black X. The boys chuckled with excitement and anxiety, looking at the baskets of stickers. Don't worry, this is all for fun, but I will be using this information to help decide my next elimination. If you get the most wrong, it doesn't mean you're automatically out. But I'm watching, I teased, pointing a finger at them. First question, I announced. This is an important one. When is my birthday? There were several laughs as the boys bent their heads, scribbling answers and peeking at their neighbors' answers. Okay, hold up your signs, I ordered, and gawked humorously at the range of dates. Kyle, of course, knew it was April 16th, and he had plenty of company, but there were only a few who knew the year as well. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give this to anyone who got April at all. All right, Fox called enthusiastically, and Lodge and Calvin high-fived in the back. The maids crossed the stage, and boys who got an X wailed comically, but took the stickers without sulking. Here's one with lots of potential answers. Who would you consider Ilia's greatest allies? Some correctly guessed France, Italy, and New Asia, while Henry held up Swendway, followed by several exclamation points. Julian's sign had several arrows drawn up to his face and had me written in large letters. I pointed at him. Wait. What does that even mean? I asked, trying to suppress a smile. His grin was huge as he shrugged. I just think I'd be a really great friend. I shook my head. Ridiculous. But I didn't think I came off sounding as reproachful as I meant to. A maid raised her hand on the side of the stage. So, does he get an X, or... Oh, that's an X, I assured her, and the boys chuckled, even Julian, most correctly named August Ilia as Dad's partner in eradicating the rebel forces, and they also knew the history of the Fourth World War. By the time we got to the end, I was pleased that the majority were so well informed. Let me see, who has the most checks? The maids helped me count across the rows, which was very efficient, since they had handed out the points. Hale has 6. So do Raoul and Ian. Bravo, gentlemen. I clapped, and the others joined in before realizing what was next. Okay, and now, who has the most X marks? The maids quickly pointed to the back corner, where poor Henry was covered with black. Oh no, Henry, I yelled, with a laugh, trying to communicate how little stock I took in the game. I really had hoped to weed out someone this way, but I knew Henry's lack of information came from living in the country for only a year, or a misunderstanding of the questions in translation. Who else do we have? Burke and Ivan? Not too terrible. They had each done pretty badly, but still had 3 correct answers over Henry. At least it confirmed my lack of excitement over Ivan. Thank you all for indulging me this morning, and I will keep this information in mind as I continue to narrow down suitors in the next few weeks. Congratulations on being so intelligent. I applauded them, and they patted one another on the back as cameras powered down. Before you go, gentlemen, I have one last question, and it comes from some recent history. Oh my God. Recent history, so you all had best get it right. They nervously murmured among themselves, ready for the challenge. If you know the answer, feel free to just shout it out. Ready? When is it acceptable to put your hands on me without my permission? I stared at them all, stone-faced, daring a single one of them to laugh. They exchanged glances with one another, but it was only Hale who was brave enough to answer. Never, he called out. That is correct. You'd all do well to remember that. Jack Ranger was let off easy with nothing more than a punch to his face from my brother and the shame of his ejection. If another one of you attempts to touch me without my consent, you will be caned, or worse. Are we clear? The room was still. I'll take that as a yes. I walked away, hoping my words would linger after me. The game was over, and they couldn't be left doubting that. After lunch, Dad was a little late getting into the office, which was rare. So I was alone when Lady Bryce came, knocking on the door. Your Highness, she greeted. Is your father not here yet? No, not sure what's holding him up. She tidied the stack of papers in her arms, thinking, I really needed to speak with him. Lady Bryce looked so young sometimes. She was much older than me, of course, but not quite Dad's age. I never really knew what to make of her. Not that I disliked her or anything. But I always wondered why she was the only woman Dad worked with. Anything I can help you with? I offered. She looked down, thinking it over. I'm not sure how widely he'd want to share this information, so I don't think so. Sorry. I smiled, knowing she meant it. No problem. Lady Bryce, can I ask you a question? You're very smart and kind. Why haven't you ever married? She giggled a little. I am married. To this job. It means a lot to me, and I'd rather do it well than seek out a spouse. I rolled my eyes. Amen to that. I know you understand. And the only people I ever get to see are the other advisors. And I don't think I'd ever want to be in a relationship with any of them. So I'll just keep working. I nodded. I respect that. I think people assume women aren't happy without a husband and children. But you seem quite satisfied. She shrugged. I think about it. I might adopt one day. I do think motherhood is an honor. And not everyone does it well. And not everyone does it well. The hint of bitterness in her tone made me think she was referring to her own mother, but I didn't want to ask about specifics. I know. I'm fortunate to have such a wonderful one. She sighed, melting a little. Your mom is a natural. In a way, she was like a second mother to me when I was younger, and I learned a lot from her. I squinted. I didn't realize you'd been around the palace so long. I tried to remember if there was a time I hadn't seen her in the hallways. Though I'd never much paid attention to the advisors until I hit 13 and started working with Dad in earnest. Perhaps I simply didn't notice. Yes, miss. I've been around here almost as long as you, she replied with a laugh. Your parents are far too generous. 18 years was a long time to hold a position in the palace, especially as an advisor. Dad switched people in and out every 5 to 8 years based on recommendations and the mood of the country. What kept Lady Bryce in her place for so long? I studied her as she swept her hair over her shoulder and smiled. Had Dad let her stay because she was attractive? No. I felt guilty for even thinking Dad could be capable of being so shallow or selfish. Well, I'm sorry I can't help you, but I'll tell Dad you came by. Thanks, Your Highness. It's not terribly urgent, so there's no rush. You have a good day. You too. She curtsied and left, and I watched the door. And I watched the door long after she was gone, curious about this woman I'd apparently known all my life without realizing it. I shrugged it away, turning back to my papers. Between the selection and work, there was no room in my head for Lady Bryce. All right, I hope this is the last take. And cut.